We put food in his bowl as though he were there. We imagined hearing the bell around Cabby's neck as he walked down our hallway. We talked to him and called out his name as though he were there. My daughter went to bed, imagining that her best friend of 15 years was sleeping next to her bed as he always did. Early the next morning, we discovered a notice on a tree at the foot of the mountains saying that someone had found a little dog. It was Cabby. Just as we had imagined, our dog returned home safely to us. No matter what challenging situation you may find yourself in, imagine the best outcome and feel it. When you do, you will change the circumstances and you will change the situation into what you want.
Whatever you can imagine exists.
Creation is only the projection into form of that which already exists. Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th century ancient Hindu text.
Whatever desire you can imagine already exists. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. 5,000 years ago, ancient scriptures recorded that all of creation was done and complete, and that anything that could possibly be created already exists. Now, 5,000 years later, quantum physics has confirmed that every single possibility of anything and everything actually exists now.
The creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was complete. Genesis chapter 2, verse 1.
What that means for you and your life is that whatever you can imagine for yourself in your life already exists. It's impossible for you to imagine anything that doesn't exist. Creation is complete. Every single possibility exists. So when you imagine breaking a world record, or traveling to the Far East, or being full of health, or being a parent, those possibilities of you doing those things exist in creation right now. If they didn't exist already, you would not be able to imagine them. To bring the things you desire and love from the invisible into your visible life, all you have to do is give love for what you want through your imagination and feelings. Imagine your life the way you want it to be. Imagine everything you want. Take your imagination with you every day and imagine what it would be like if your relationships were all wonderful. Imagine how you would feel if your job suddenly took off. Imagine how your life would be if you had the money you need to do what you love. Imagine how you would feel if you were overflowing with health. Imagine how you would feel if you could do what you wanted to do. Use all of your senses to imagine what you want. If you want to travel to Italy, imagine the smell of olive oil. Taste the pasta. Hear Italian words being spoken to you. Touch the stone of the Colosseum and feel being in Italy. In conversations and in your thoughts, say, imagine if, and then fill in the rest of the sentence with what you want. If you're talking to a friend and they're complaining because their work colleague got a promotion and they didn't, help them by saying, imagine if the reason you didn't get that promotion is that you were being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money. Because the truth is that the possibility of your friend being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money already exists. And if they can imagine it and feel it, they can receive it.
Atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real.
They form a world of potentialities or possibilities rather than one of things or facts. Werner Heisenberg, 20th century Nobel Prize-winning quantum physicist.
Use your imagination and create games so that you feel really good. Whatever you can imagine is waiting for you, fully created in the invisible. And the way to make it visible is to harness the force of love by imagining and feeling what you love. After graduating from college, a young woman struggled for months and months trying to get a job. Her biggest obstacle was imagining having a job when she didn't have one. She wrote in her journal every day that she was grateful for the job that was coming to her, but still no job. Then she had a sudden realization. Her desperate actions of applying for one job after another was saying loud and clear to the law of attraction that she didn't have a job. So here is what the young woman did that changed everything. She decided to use her imagination and live as though she were already employed. She set her alarm early as if she were going to work. Instead of writing in her journal that she was grateful for the job that was coming, she wrote how grateful she was for her success in her job and for the people she worked with. She planned the clothes she would wear to work each day. She set up a savings account for her paychecks. Within 2 weeks, she felt as though she really had a job. Then out of the blue, a friend told her about a position that had become available. She went for an interview, got the job, and received everything she had written about in her journal.
Prop yourself up.
Whenever you permit yourself to think what persons, things, conditions, or circumstances may suggest, you are not following what you want to think. You are not following your own desires, but borrowed desires. Use your imagination in determining what you want to think or do. Christian D. Larson, early 20th century New Thought author.
When using the creation process, use all the props you can to generate the feeling that you have what you want already. Surround yourself with items of clothing, pictures, photographs, and relevant objects so you can imagine and feel the feelings of having what you want. If you want new clothes, make sure you have space in your wardrobe with empty clothes hangers ready for your new clothes. If you want to bring more money into your life, does your wallet have space for money, or is it full of irrelevant bits of paper? If you want the perfect partner, you must imagine and feel that the person is with you now. Are you sleeping in the middle of your bed, or are you sleeping on one side because your partner is on the other side of your bed? If your partner were with you now, you would be using only half the space in your wardrobe because your partner's clothes would be in the other half of the wardrobe. Do you set your table for 2 people or 1 person? Just putting out an extra place is something you can easily do. Do your best not to contradict your desire in your day-to-day actions, and instead use the world of props that surround you to feel as though you already have what you want. These are simple little things you can do with props and your imagination, but they are incredibly powerful. One woman used props in her imagination to receive a horse. She had wanted a horse all her life, but she could not afford to buy one. She wanted a chestnut Morgan gelding, and a Morgan would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So she imagined seeing the exact horse she wanted each time she looked outside her kitchen window. She put a picture of a chestnut Morgan horse on the screen of her laptop computer. Whenever she had the opportunity, she doodled drawings of the horse. She began looking at horses for sale, even though she couldn't afford them. She took her children to a store, and together they tried on riding boots. She looked at saddles. She bought the only things she could afford: a horse blanket, lead, and horse brushes, and she kept them on display so she could see them every day. Sometime later, the woman went to a horse expo in her town. A raffle was being held at the expo, and the first prize was a chestnut Morgan gelding, the exact same horse she had been imagining. And of course she won the raffle and received her horse. Your senses are props too, so use all your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel the touch of what you want with your skin. Taste it, smell it, see it, and hear it. One man worked with all his senses to bring himself multiple job offers. He had applied for 75 positions over 3 years and had not received a single job offer. But then he used his imagination and all his senses to imagine he had his dream job. He imagined every detail in his new office. He touched the keys of his computer in his imagination. He smelled the lemon scent of the furniture polish on his new, huge mahogany desk. He imagined his work colleagues. He gave them names. He had conversations with them. He had meetings with them. He even tasted the tacos at lunch breaks. 7 weeks later, he began receiving requests for interviews. Then requests for second interviews poured in. Then he received not only 1 fantastic job offer, but 2. He accepted the job he loved the most. It was his dream job. Know that when you have completed your part in the creation process, creation is done. You are no longer in the old world where you didn't have what you wanted. You have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want, even if you can't see it yet. Know that you will receive it.
Points of power. To harness the force of love in your life, to bring something you want or change something you don't want, the creation process is always the same. Imagine it, feel it, receive it. Your imagination connects you to what you want. Your desire and feelings of love create the magnetism, the magnetic power, drawing your desire to you. Imagine yourself being with your desire. At the same time, feel love for what you're imagining. Desire what you want with all of your heart, because desire is a feeling of love, and you must give love to receive what you love. When you imagine anything positive that you want and love, you are harnessing the force of love. Push your imagination to the limits and imagine the best and highest that you possibly can of whatever it is that you want. Whatever desire you can imagine already exists. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. In conversations and in your thoughts, say, "Imagine if," and then complete the sentence with what you want. Use props. Surround yourself with items of clothing, pictures, photographs, and relevant objects so you can imagine and feel the feelings of having what you want. Your senses are props too. Use all your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel it, taste it, smell it, see it, and hear it. When you have completed your part in the creation process, you have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want, even if you can't see it yet. Know you will receive it.